Hello, I am Jennifer Ruddick Zunikoff. I am a storyteller and a storytelling coach and an educator. So hello, Emmanuel. Good to be here with you. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. How are you? How you doing?
I am great. First of all, I've missed you. You have been so busy, and I need to know, why are you so busy? What can we
Ooh.
find out about this new venture of yours? Tell us.
Um, yeah, so I have been very busy with this project. Like you said, it's called Donuts and Stardust. And it is a hybrid, half film and half musical stage play.
So, okay, I want to know a little bit about both and a lot about the whole thing. So, can you talk a little bit about the film aspect, a little bit about the stage aspect, and how you decided to put this all together and why this way?
So yeah, that's great. It's a lot of questions in one. So I'm gonna try to hit them all. You may have to remind me halfway through if I don't hit them all.
No
Uh,
problem.
but essentially, so it is one cohesive work. I guess I should say that first. It is one cohesive work, but it is kind of blending these elements of film and musical theater together. And the story kind of takes place essentially it's really about someone that's struggling with um depression and anxiety and really kind of living a life of resignation essentially, and has essentially stopped trying to find meaning or connection in life. And we follow the main character, whose name is Cal, um kind of through this like very cyclical daily routine, of him kind of getting up, getting ready for work, walking to work, working his shift, walking back home, and then just kind of rinse and repeat, and like not even really, he's just kind of going through the motions. And essentially one night he has a really really bizarre dream, and in the dream he sees a lot of crazy imagery, but with these strong kind of colors of like teal and magenta and pinks and turquoise and those kinds of colors. And on his route to work the next day, he finds he notices a diner where the logo are those colors, and so he feels almost like drawn to this place. So he goes in and he kind of walks into this place that just feels slightly otherworldly, a little bit, just slightly surreal, slightly whatever. And it's just, the people that are there, like sitting at the counter, are just having one of the most bizarre conversations he's ever heard. And so he's quickly kind of like, what did I just stumble into here? And he gets a donut and coffee. He's like listening to this thing, and they're kind of talking about like quantum physics, but also politics, but also like economics, but also donuts, like all at the same time. And it's just crazy. So he leaves and goes to work, but he's kind of really like, I don't know what that was all about, but it was intriguing enough for him to want to go back the next day. And so he ends up going back every day. He goes back more and more and more. And eventually over time, he kind of becomes a regular there himself. And the conversations turn from being fantastical in nature to much more grounded in reality, to things that, you know, are, things dealing with religion, things dealing with relationships or dating, things dealing with um, racism, things dealing with all of these things that he had kind of figured he already had his answers about. And it causes him to reconsider or rethink some of these things. And ultimately, it starts to shake him up. And at the end of the story, um, he's not like fixed, he's not all better. It's not that he goes through all of these things and he meets a girl and he all these kind of things, and it's not that his like life is perfect now. um but he does have a renewed sense of hope, and he is willing to look for meaning and connection in his life.
Hmm. That sounds really beautiful and something that we all could use right now. Something that takes us from our surreal reality into a different kind of more grounded reality, and explores. our lives and connections. Wow. I'd love to hear a little bit more about you and your relationship to the script and these different pieces. You shared a little bit that this seems to have an autobiographical component.
Yes.
Um, and you are also a musician. You are an activist. You're an incredible speaker. And you're one who does share his mind in so many ways. So can you talk a little bit about the Emmanuel who we see in other projects and the Emmanuel who we're seeing on stage and in film?
Sure.
Anything?
Yeah. No, I think that's a good question because, it's interesting that you mentioned that like I am someone that I guess has been known to wear his heart on his sleeve and not really hide my feelings or struggles or deep things. And it's such a weird thing because I have been in those spaces and done that work with people, and yet there's still like layers and levels of things that I have kept to myself that I haven't shared with anyone, not even the people closest to me. And um and so for me, it's kind of like, well, if it's like that for me, if it's like that for me as someone that actually has deliberately put himself out there to the world to want to talk about deep emotional things, and yet I still have so much that I'm holding back. I can't imagine, how many other people might be feeling about those, same things or other things that they don't, that they don't want to share, and how difficult it can be. And it's only been very recently that I realized that it's like, essentially what I've done is written kind of like a fairy tale to my own depression.
Wow.
Like it's something that I wrote out, like I wrote past where I am in my own journey with it. I had
You
to.
are writing, you're writing your story for the
Yeah,
story that you want to live.
yeah, yeah. So I kind of, I wrote all the angsty bits, all the turmoil, all the like bouts with suicidal thoughts and all of these things. I wrote all of that out, and then I got to this point of like, okay, well, the story needs to go somewhere. It can't just stay here. And I'm like, oh, I haven't figured this part out. Haven't figured this part out for myself yet. Um, but it was so helpful actually, for me to really kind of sit with that and kind of imagine out like how would I like this to go, and and I think I wrote something that at least felt very good for me. It felt very um resolute for me, and ultimately I think that like that's what I want, is just a stronger sense of peace and calm, and that like not feeling like the rug is about to be pulled out from under my feet every day kind of thing.
Mhm. This is so incredible. So I'm sensing that this is really a lot. We're seeing a lot of grit in the main character. We're seeing your grit in this process, right? And yet we have this title, this magical title, Donuts and Stardust.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the title, how you selected it? Did it come to you?
Yeah. I'll be honest, like I know it's such a cliche artist thing to just be like, yes, it just manna from heaven just came to me. But I really honestly I wish I could say that it was something other than that, but it was that. Like at the point that the setting came to me in terms of it being a diner, and that felt like, okay, I think a diner is a good thing. Because I'm someone that like I love going to diners whenever I travel, whenever I go to different places. I'm like, let's go get some breakfast food. Even if it's 8 o'clock at night or something, like I love going to diners. So the setting of a diner came to me and felt very comfortable. And being a first time screenwriter, one of the things that's kind of I've heard in the ethos is write from what you know, essentially. And so a diner was like, okay, I like diners. Like that was a good place to start. And the moment that I thought of that I needed a name for it, it was literally just like boop, donuts and stardust. Like I just knew that that's what it was going to be. And and honestly, it wasn't a reach because there are two things that I love. I'm very known in my circle of friends and family of being a pastry enthusiast. Um I am known to
Excellent
show up.
quality.
Yeah. I'm known to show up with a donut in hand or a scone or a coffee roll or something, so I really enjoy donuts. And I'm really kind of into to moonlighting in terms of like astrophysics and things like that, like just kind of
Mm.
wanting to understand the cosmos and the universe. And so it was just literally just the marriage of two things that are genuine interests of mine.
Mhm.
Um and then I did a little Google search real quick to see if the name, because I was like, oh, someone's got to have already used this name. It to me it was like so like simple and everything, and it was like no one had used it, and I'm like, well then there you go. I'm gonna make this the name of the diner.
So, okay, so I know that you have really addressed what I'm about to ask, but I just want to ask directly, because I think with any art, it's just we're always wondering that the creator of the art, we're wondering, what do you hope we take away with us, and what do you hope you take away with
uh
you as this project continues, or
yeah.
I have a feeling it's going to go on for a while in different ways.
Well, I hope for myself that I can take a nap at some point.
A few years, I'm sure you'll get an afternoon.
uh but no, I think for the audience, I really hope that I really hope that there's a few answers. I would say the first answer um is I hope that people see something or hear something in the story that reminds them of something that they love or have loved, that they wanted to do that they didn't do or didn't try to do. That maybe they've been waiting for permission to do. Maybe they've been waiting for a license to do, and like waiting for the world to give them that or something. And kind of I know it's not like a new thought process, but I think that it's essentially you can't hear the message until it's your time to hear it. So if no one is saying it, it could be missed. So I don't mind saying something that may have been said in other ways before, because who knows who needs to hear it at this particular time in this particular way. So yeah, I hope to give license to people to try something, that, to break up their routine if they find themselves in something and they want to mix it up or do something, to um be willing to take risks, and so that's kind of I would say the first layer. The second layer is I hope that it builds empathy, and I hope that people that struggle with depression and things feel seen and feel represented well. And I hope that for people that maybe don't struggle with it that way, I hope they get a deeper insight as to really what it's like for this person. um did you hear about the dancer Twitch? There's a black dancer that like just committed suicide just a few weeks ago, and it's that same story. It's just like he was so happy, he was such a smiley guy, he was bringing people joy every day, and this, that, and the other. We see it. It's not a fake thing. It's not. It could be the person in your family in the room with you today that is struggling in this way, that is not saying it, that is not telling you those things that are really, really bothering them and burdening them, and you can't just look at someone on the outside and think, and so I'm just really hoping that it hits in a real way, that it's like, yeah, no, like you really don't know what people are going through, and I really hope that they see that, like, this can be a very debilitating thing to live with. It really can. um and and I also hope that people have fun. I know I've been very, very serious, and talking about all the like heavy emotional things, but there's definitely some jokes. There's definitely some funny moments and some funny songs and all that kind of thing, because uh, I like to have a good time. So
And with donuts and stardust,
yeah, it's
how can it
donuts and
not be
stardust.
fun?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, it
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
really sounds
There will be lots
delicious.
of donut eating, lots of whimsical nonsense as well. Um,
Terrific. This is incredible. Thank you for being yourself and using your incredible mind and spirit to bring this to life. Thank you for involving me. I feel so fortunate to have learned more about it and been able to discuss this with you. And I look forward to our friends and the community hearing more about this. Thank you so much for your time. And we
Thank
will
you. Yes,
definitely
thank
talk
you so
soon.
much.
Can't wait to see it.
Yes, yes, yes.